Hi, so this is a companion piece to my earlier video on Algebra 1, variables and expressions. This is actually some practice problems. This is something that I want to use to be able to show students and people who want to learn about algebra some more ideas and practice ideas that we can actually work with. Okay, so I will do several of these and show you the steps, and then I will leave the rest for you to figure out. And if you want to leave your answers and attempts in the comments, that's totally okay. All right, so let's start with the first one, the sum of 13 and twice a number h. Because of the unique nature of addition, we can actually rewrite it as 13 plus 2h or 2h plus 13. Twice a number represents multiplication, so that's why I wrote down 2h or 2 times h. In algebra and a lot of mathematics, when you have a number, a quantity and a variable next to each other, that usually represents multiplication, whereas the 1 and the 3 next to each other represents 13. A 1 in the 10 spot and a 3 in the 1 spot is what that represents. Okay, so the unique ideas behind it is that I can rewrite it either way. We'll talk about this at a future recording where we talk about the properties of real numbers, of why you can rewrite it forwards or backwards. It's totally, addition and multiplication are the only two that do this. Subtraction and division, you have to follow a specific order, like for example with the next one, which is 9 more than the difference of 17 and k. All right, so this one is 9 more, so we're definitely going to be adding with this part. So 9 more is definitely going to be adding. The difference of 17 and k, remember, if you're having a struggling of going, is it 17 minus k or k minus 17, put a number in k's place and then think about what that numerical expression is saying. So for example, the difference of 17 and 5 is 12. Okay, so I'd go 17 minus 5, whereas if I did the difference of 5 and 17, that would be negative 12. So it depends upon which one comes first. Okay, now if you notice, I wrote down two versions here. I have 9 plus 17 minus k, or 17 minus k plus 9. Because of the unique nature of addition, we can actually have two different ways we can write it. We can write it one way, going one way, or the other way, and switch up the order of the two. Notice how even though I switched up the order, I did not switch the order of the 17 minus k. Let's take a look at the next one. 6.7 more than the product of 5 and n. All right, now on this one, I want to pay attention to the product. Now the product is going to tell me which two to multiply. So the product of 5 and n, I'm going to multiply those two. So that's why I have 5 n in both examples. Now 6.7 more than is another addition. So because it's addition, I can rewrite it as 6.7 plus 5n or 5n plus 6.7. Right? Now let's take a look at 9.85 less than the product of 37 and t. All right, now this one is, we do have to pay attention to what comes first with less than. Less than is going to tell us is that we're going to be subtracting 9.85 from this second part, whatever this turns out to be. And it turns out to be a product, so it's a multiplication of 37 and t. So the 37t comes from the product of 37 and t. And the less than, once again, if you take that t, and let's say we multiplied the t, which was a variable, which was a number we picked, and 37, let's say we got 5. Or no, sorry, 15. Let's say 15. 15, so we would say 9.85 less than 15. We would write 15 first and then minus 9.85. So that's why we're rewriting it as 37t minus 9.85. Now let's take a look at 7 minus the quotient of 3 and v. All right, now there are two ways to rewrite this one. Okay, so we got 7 minus. Now, if we see minus, not less than, we do have to care about the order, but the order is that this one comes first, and then whatever is down here comes second. Okay, whereas up here, this one, when we see less than, this one comes second, and then whatever is down at the end comes first. Okay. So when we go 7 minus the quotient of 3 and v, once again, if you're like struggling with this, think about a number that you can multiply 3 to get 5, and 7 minus 5 would be rewritten as 7 minus 5, 7 subtraction sign 5. Now we could rewrite it as with the slash sign for computer speak of 3 divided by 7, or we can rewrite it as the fraction 3 over 7. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. Now, to be totally fluent, we should practice going from algebraic expressions to word phrases so we can go back and think about exactly what's going on. The reason why this practice is a good one is because it helps you think about what the operation is doing, what exactly we are doing, okay? So 49 plus m. This one's pretty straightforward. A sum of 49 and a number. I could also say 49 plus a number and be right as well, but I want to just represent how it is with its correct notation, okay? Now the next one is 9n plus 1. Alright, so this one is one more than the product of 9 and a number. That is one way to write it. You could rewrite it as the product of 9 and a number and then added or increased by 1. It's totally up to you how you want to do those type of problems. Okay. Alright, so now if you've noticed, I've left these two blank. I'm not going to do those. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to skip right over to this one. The z divided by 8 minus 9. Let's go ahead and transform that into word. Alright, this one would be, this is one example I've written out, 9 less than quotient of a number and 8. You could also rewrite it as the quotient of a number and 8, then subtracting a 9. Totally up to you how you want to rewrite this, okay? Totally understand. Now, the bottom one, I'm going to skip the next two because we've already done those. I want you to try to practice those. Alright, now, what if we actually have a problem where you have some parentheses? Here's how you do it. Alright, now I would rewrite it like this. This is just my first gut reaction, is to write it as twice the difference of 5 in a number. Mainly because I'm thinking about, okay, when you put two operations next to each other, well, when you put anything in the parentheses outside being multiplied by the stuff inside, we'll talk about the distributive property next. But when we have that going on, we're going to actually sit down and go, okay, what exactly are we doing and how do we want to represent this in words? Okay, now another way that you could have done this is 2 times the difference of 5 in a number. Or if you wanted to, even if you had like a fraction, like a third or like let's say a fourth, so in other words you had 1 over 4 times 5 minus n, you could rewrite that as 1/4 times that, or you could say 1/4 the difference of 5 in a number. So you could replace the twice. The twice just represents how many times we're multiplying it, okay? Alright, so now that we've practiced these problems right here, I want you guys to write in the comments, if you can, the answers for the other 5. So take your time. If you're in my class, you can totally email me and stuff, and I will totally give you a high five next time I see you. Alright. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad you came by to watch variables and expressions, some practice problems.